We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. This thing sucks.
Gentlemen, once again, Wednesday. I'm always flanked by the venerable veteran from the Vikings, Dave. How's it going?
It's wonderful. Nice and toasty down here in Texas, but everything up in Minnesota's nice and cool. They're enjoying a wonderful August so far.
Relative. And last but not least, dynamic duo from Detroit, June and B. Foster. How's everything hanging in you all's neck of the woods?
Everything's good, man. It's a beautiful day. It's not hot, not cold. I like it.
Not hot, not cold.
Just right.
I would appreciate. Well, I am appreciating that the cold part from Javi Baez's swing found his way to Wrigley Field yesterday. That part is. He's the gift that keeps giving. My man El Mago, shout out. Will always be a legend in Chicago. What? No, Foster, don't do it. Don't do it. Be careful.
World Series champ.
That's true. 1 month away. He was 1 month shy of being the MVP of the league. And it's been downhill ever since then. But we ain't got to talk about that. We're here to talk about football. And speaking of football, I want to come back to, I guess, the biggest topic of the entire offseason for this division. And that's the loss of J.J. McCarthy. All right. So we've processed his injury, what's next, everything had to do with him. Let's move past that. I want to talk about what does Minnesota do in the interim? The Sam Darnold era, however long it's going to be, however short it's going to be. Dave, I'm not the biggest believer in Sam Darnold. But most people will tell you that his misfortunes in his career was largely to do with him being in a bad situation in New York and so on and so forth. I kind of think that in Minnesota, him playing with Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the league by, I don't want to say by far, I think that might be a little bit disrespectful, but I think most people agree that Justin Jefferson's the best wide receiver in the league. So playing with him and playing behind a above average offensive line, would you say?
At least average, if not above. Yeah.
I would swap out my offensive line for your offensive line. Let's agree to that. I think that Minnesota Vikings fans and everyone else around the league shouldn't be so down on the outlook for the 2024 Vikings. What do you think for that moment?
Well, nothing you said is wrong at all. We do have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor's grabbed the wide receiver 3 spot like it's nothing. He's going to be good. TJ Hawkinson will eventually be back, hopefully sooner rather than later. So you got another outstanding receiving threat. So that's 4. We got Aaron Jones from our buddies over in Wisconsin, who still got tread on his tires. He's going to have a heck of an offense around him. It is the best situation of his career for that. You might say San Francisco last year, but he didn't do much down there. But can he be better? Oh, absolutely. But most Minnesota Vikings fans are a little bit still down from J.J. McCarthy having to go on IR because of his meniscus surgery. And now we're debating, well, will he come back at the end? Will they designate him for a return? No, he'll probably be out the entire season. But everybody's hopes were so high, and then they were dashed, and everybody's like, Sam Darnold's the consolation prize. Well, he was going to start anyways, even with J.J. McCarthy. Plus, you take Kevin O'Connell, our head coach, what he did for Kirk Cousins made him better. Can he do that with Sam Darnold? I think the answer is yes. Of course he can. And the whole Vegas Vikings are at 6.5 wins. They ain't going to win more. I think Vegas is smoking something. There's no way. Yeah, we got a tough schedule, but so does basically everybody else in the division. We play all the same teams. So I do believe the Vikings are going to play better than Vegas picks them to be. Will they play to be competitive in the division? I hope so. If everybody stays healthy, they might. Will Sam Darnold suddenly, develop into who he should have been when he was drafted number 3 overall? Let's hope so. That possibility is still there. It just needs unlocked. And I think part of it's mental.
Sam Darnold was a number 1 pick, Dave.
Was he number 1? All right, number 1.
If he developed into what he should have been,
well,
okay. I like it.
But I think most of Sam's issues are up here, and I think that's where Kevin O'Connell helps. So I'm not down on the Vikings this year. I think we got a great chance.
Sure. I agree that you shouldn't be down for the most part. You should have a good chance, especially now that you've picked up a former defensive player of the year, Stephon Gilmore. I think I wasn't sure. Were you all lacking for DB help? What was that for?
Injuries
and death.
We didn't need none of that in the division, Dave. Let's be honest with you.
No, it's injuries and death. Kyrie Jackson, you remember, died in that auto accident, hit by a drunk driver, and then Mekhi Blackman popped his ACL first practice, and he's out for the season. And both of those two were expected to compete to start, and that left us with Brian Murphy, the vet back there, and Shaquille Griffin. Once he gets back from his torn hammy, I think it's his hamstring that he's dealing with, but we needed depth because everybody else behind there was way behind. So we went after Gilmore and got Stephon at a price that works for everybody. And he's come in, been to 2 practices. Today will be his 3rd. And he's an instant starter. He's the instant number 1 cornerback. Even at his age, I think he's going to be like when we had Patrick Peterson a couple years ago. Are they at the top of, their game where, for Stephon Gilmore winning defensive player of the year? No. They're not that. Stephon will be, I think is 33, be 34, something like that. 34 now. That isn't the case. But they got wisdom. They know, they can see stuff and know what the play is going to be. They're that far advanced. So I think it's a good thing that he's on that defense. And I think that fills one of the 2 biggest holes we have on the defense. We got a great safety room. Linebackers are decent. Edge rushers are fantastic now. It was corners and interior defensive line that we were worried about. Now some of those guys have stepped up. We're going to have a top 10 defense easy. Maybe even top 5. This division is tough. It is tough.
I agree that Stephon Gilmore, you can't go wrong with getting Stephon Gilmore on your team. Former defensive player of the year, as I said. I still believe he is very good in a division with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sun God, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and a host of others. It's not a bad look whatsoever. I want to circle back. Top 5 defense? To be continued.
We'll get close. We'll be right around there at least.
You've got the pass rush. I won't argue with you.
Dallas Turner and Greenwood.
Yeah. But you did say something,
Grenard,
about Kevin O'Connell helping your quarterback get to where he needs to be, helping players get to where they need to be. The big football news of the week, a little off the field drama. A coach of yours may not be helping, being accused of not helping a former quarterback of his get to where he needed to be. Defensive coordinator Brian Flores kind of got
the one that's
dragged
going to
through the
give us
mud.
that top 5 defense. Yes.
No. To be continued, Dave. You're gonna put that in the box over here. Put that in the box with my my mom's.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings, Brian Flores. Tua was having an interview with my favorite sports show, the Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz. And he pretty much said that Brian Flores wasn't very positive of him and his development. Basically called him a shit guy for the most part. Flores responded.
A terrible
yesterday.
person was part of the quote. Yes.
I want to give him some grace. I don't know if he was actually calling Brian Flores a terrible person or just using the example of a terrible person, demeaning you day in and day out on your job. I don't know. Tua had to clean that up for us, but Flores did respond.
In particular, yesterday. Is quote, if you have a terrible person telling you don't want to hear things you don't want to hear or things you probably shouldn't be hearing, you're going to start believing that about yourself, unquote.
Okay.
He used the words terrible person. Now, whether he was as a generality or he was specifically referring to Brian Flores.
Again, like I said, Tua will have to clean that up for us. He may not want to come back to it. He might just want to say what's said is said and just leave it at that. But Flores did respond yesterday at Vikings camp. And Dave, I'll let you, as our Vikings aficionado, how was his response met by you?
I thought it was fine. First off, he goes up there and he had Josh Metellus and Harrison Phillips side by side with him, making sure they covered his back. He appreciated that. But he went out there and said that he is genuinely happy for the success that Tua's had, and he's wishing him all the best. Player relationships are important to him. Now, do I think that he thinks he's learned from it? Do I think he's learned from it too? Yes. That being with KOC and Mike Tomlin the year before, they deal with players a little bit differently than the old school style that he came from under the Bill Belichick tree, which of course is the old school style of Bill Parcells, which Mike Zimmer is an acolyte of. And when the Vikings went through all the headache towards the end of the Zimmer regime, you get that. Plus, he's a defensive coach. And what do the defensive coaches hate? They hate the offense. So it's hard for them, I think, somewhat to become head coaches because of that bias. But do I think he has gotten better? I do. And I do believe in his heart of hearts, he wanted Tua to succeed. He was just a tough leader, tough leadership style. And part of its age, generational. I know myself, being one of the oldest guys here, we grew up with that was normal. You go in the military, that's normal. And you go up and it's to harden you. Well, today's generation, I don't want to make it this generation versus other. You don't treat that way. It's not, everybody has value, and you've got to, how to motivate them is a little bit different than yelling and screaming and grabbing their face mask and twisting their helmet and whatever, like I had in high school. You've got to do things a little differently, and you got to value and make people feel good. And I guess he didn't do that on the offensive side. on the one person that means the most to the head coach, the quarterback, his starting quarterback, that his job is tied to, they couldn't communicate well. And we all know that happens in life. So now, do I think Tua could have handled it better on his end? Oh, yes, I do. But it is what it is. It happened. We're going on. They're not going to play with each other again. That rarely happens, but we'll find out.
So I wanted to point out that Tua's played for 2 head coaches in the NFL, Brian Flores and now Mike McDaniel. I think his record with both head coaches is the same.
He's 19-0 with one, or 19-1, and he's got 19 wins on one and 20 wins on the other.
Okay. I think Mike McDaniel's got about one more win. So it's pretty similar. I don't think you can have, well, at least the results on the field, the ultimate result, win-loss, hasn't been too much different. Tua's just a happier guy with Mike McDaniels for the most part, which is cool. I mean, you want to be happy coming to work every day, especially in a workplace as combustible as the NFL. But as to your point, Brian Flores, he looked like he was in that interview, not an interview, but when he responded to the questions yesterday at the presser, he looked like he was caught off guard by Tua's comments, but he also sounded contrite. He said, hey, I didn't do everything the right way, but I'm learning from it. I'm happy for all the success Tua's getting right now, and I wish him all the best moving forward. I think that's the best. I think that's the best thing you can say to move past it, right? So
I thought so. It's a very mature response.
You always look for contrition, right? Contrition is the best thing you can have. So I hope this goes a long way into one day maybe Brian Flores getting another crack at it, because he, as I just pointed out with those records, they tore the Miami Dolphins down to the studs, and he was still able to get something out of that squad. Mike McDaniel, they put a lot of money into the Dolphins that he has, and they're only one game better. I think Flores can coach. Hopefully, he has learned something from how to manage people, and he gets another crack at it in the league. And we see one Bill Belichick disciple finally have some success.
Oh, I agree. Now, we have one player that's in common to both teams. We now have Andrew Van Ginkel as our edge rusher.
Right.
Andrew Van Ginkel was drafted by Brian Flores.
Dolphins, yeah.
And he came out and he said that in defense of Flores, quote, he's the reason I'm the player I am today. I'm just going to leave the Tua's comments to himself. I wouldn't be here without Flores at this point in my career. So he obviously, Van Ginkel being at both spots, knows the situation, and he chose Minnesota. So,
June and Foster, did you all have any thoughts on that type of off the field noise that we're getting this week?
His name is spelled B-R-Y, right?
Brian Flores, B-R-I.
Oh, it's B-R-I. Yeah, no slander towards the B-R-Is. That is all I have.
Okay, thanks for that input, B. Foster. June.
I haven't really paid attention much to what was going on until today, so I just reserved my thoughts until I look further into it.
Now, what it does do is it brings unwanted attention to both the Vikings and the Dolphins at a time neither team wants it or needs it.
Yeah.
I definitely disagree. As camp is ending, you want to just talk about ball, not stuff that happened 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the fans want to see it, but I'm just saying the teams don't. They don't want to deal with this.
Cool. All right. Thanks a lot. So we're going to go ahead and take our first of many breaks before we get into some Detroit Lions about what you guys been up to. Stay tuned if you're watching live. And if you're listening on the audio, check out a word from our sponsors. And we're back. Just that fast. So, June. It's been, you guys got two games under your belt. I saw the last one, and the reason why I saw your last game is because NFL Network was playing the end of that game as if it was an actual regular season game. They could not cut out into the Pittsburgh Steelers game until the end of Detroit, Kansas City. They say, "Oh, we're gonna go box. We're gonna have a box over here and box over here because you got to see this." I don't want to get ahead of myself, but do you all have Kansas City's number?
We do. We do.
There you go. I'm gonna go ahead and clip that so I can put that out there.
Especially at home, especially in Arrowhead. That's like our second. We kick our feet up like we at home.
It's funny because after the game, Foster said that. Like he mentioned that.
The Kansas City, they come home to dirty dishes and empty soda cans, huh?
Soda?
No. Well, pop.
Got the brewskis.
Oh, okay. Other was I heard I didn't see this part, so I don't want to go too far. But I heard you all had an injury in this game too.
In the game?
Yeah.
No.
Who'd you hear?
Maybe it was a Kansas City player that got hurt. Never mind.
There was during the game, throughout the game, there was one starter, and we're not even sure if he's a starter yet. Was Robinson, the nickel, the corner that was acquired from the Raiders. He played a significant amount of minutes, but there were zero starters that played for the Lions last Saturday.
And you still got the W. That's what I like to hear. So, since no starters have played, I think we talked about, one of the key points that in the Lions offseason is who's going to step up to be the third wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody show you anything this game, Foster, as to who can be that slot guy opposite Amon-Ra, opposite I'm blanking on his name.
Jameson Williams.
Jameson Williams.
Yeah. So I think Dan Campbell, as of right now, announced that Khalif Raymond is the current number 3, but I think he's definitely hoping that one of his bigger stature receivers step in to play that role of what Josh Reynolds was. Because Isaiah Williams had a pretty good game, the undrafted guy out of Illinois. But he's only 5. He's like 5'10". But he looked pretty fast and dynamic out there. Caden Davis had a few catches and had a touchdown. He's a bigger guy. He's about 6'1", 190. But I think they were really hoping that Darius Fountain and Donovan Peoples-Jones would have a bigger impact. But both of those guys kind of took a step back last week. So it's kind of created some confusion because, if you base it off of performance, I think Caden Davis and Isaiah Williams are ahead of Fountain and Donovan Peoples-Jones. But that's kind of contradictory to what, as far as the scheme and how they want to use them, I think it's kind of contradictory to what Dan Campbell would have expected. And then, of course, Khalif Raymond is like, he's like 5'10", 190. He's another small, yeah, he's like a St. Brown size guy. So, it's gonna be interesting. But we did get some a good performance from Sione Vaki, who was our rookie running back / he played safety in college, but I don't think he's played much safety in since he's been in Detroit. But he looked real dynamic, real shifty, and he caught 4 balls and had 60 yards receiving out of the backfield. So I think he's a guy that we're going to see a little bit of everywhere. But even then, he's another smaller guy. They're still it's going to be a very important, that last game at home is going to be a big game for Fountain and Peoples-Jones, because we traded for Peoples-Jones last year, and we were hoping that, he's a hometown guy. He went to Michigan. He went to Cass Tech right downtown. So they were hoping that with him getting some time off, him getting a full offseason to kind of work with the offense, that he would hit the ground running. But he has not really done that.
Yeah, you got beat writers here that are speculating that DPJ could be on the bubble as far as making the team, let alone being the 3rd or 4th wide receiver. They're saying that he may or may not make the team. That's what they're thinking. But he hasn't been as productive as we'd like to see at the wide receiver position. We know he can field punts and kick returns. We do know that. However, he hasn't had an opportunity. Well, he's had opportunity to show what he can do as a wide receiver. It just hasn't translated yet since he's been here. So there's speculation whether or not he's even going to make the team.
See, Dave, you went ahead and got all those high-priced DBs, and Detroit still risks running with 2. Nothing to even be worried about.
I know. I got more injuries out of Detroit today from what I see.
Yeah.
Who got hurt?
Sewell.
Penei Sewell?
Yeah. He went down. Like, I don't know what the severity is, but I hear he kind of he was like on the ground with a foot injury. So I thought that's what you were referring to. I figured maybe that you had heard about the injury and thought it happened.
New to me.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Well, he said during the game, but I didn't notice anything during the game.
Well, no, I figured that maybe he heard that he got hurt and thought it happened during the game. I thought maybe.
No.
But during the game, I can't think of any significant injuries, because all the starters were in hoodies and sweats.
What's the you say you don't know the severity of Penei Sewell's? Did he have to get on a cart or anything?
I think he hobbled off the field. If I heard that correctly. But it's pretty new. Like, I heard it on the radio, on the way home. So I didn't even get a chance to see any footage or anything like that.
The report on him says he limped off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big boy.
Speedy recovery to him. He's one of the best offensive linemen in the league. You definitely don't want to have him out for any extended period of time. But I would assume this will end his camp early. And even if it's a minor injury, you're not going to see him again until week 1. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hope so. Let's spin the block on Detroit Lions. So that's the offense. We pretty much know what to expect from all the known names, right? On the offense, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sun God, Jameson, Goff, and so on and so forth. Laporta. On defense, the draft pick you all got last year that I was most interested in, they got him, Jack Campbell, Iowa kid. I thought he was going to turn your defense right around day 1, but it's been I don't think I'm speaking out of turn if I say it was a rocky rookie season, right? Some would even say a little, some would even say a little underwhelming. What's his offseason looking like? Is it trending in that way of being that future 10-year middle linebacker type of guy?
June, do you have any insight on Jack Campbell? I haven't heard a ton about him.
From what I'm hearing, he had a great offseason. We haven't seen anything from him. Like, he hasn't played a down in preseason. There was word out of camp that he looks good. He's moving well. He's improved from last season, but you're not going to hear the opposite. If it's, you wouldn't hear that in a negative tone. So we don't know. It's all speculation at this point on how well he's progressing. But we've heard good news, but I don't expect to hear anything bad.
let's project a little bit. What would be a good sophomore season for Jack Campbell? Within reason, though. I don't just say all pro. Within reason, what would be a good season for him?
To earn a starting position. Like before, we have not two staple, but we have two linebackers that are starting, and that would be Barnes and pronounce his name there, Foster, the other guy.
Anzalone. Alex Anzalone. My bad.
Yeah, I messed his name up. So we have two linebackers, and the rest are we basically run like a 4-2 whatever in the back. So it's usually two linebackers, and they take the other linebacker position and they give that to the nickel. Make him, the nickel position. So, but last year he didn't see a lot of playing time. So hopefully he's earned his way, because you're not gonna unseat Anzalone. He's great in coverage. He knows the defense, and he's getting better every year. That other position that that Barnes has is something he can compete for. So hopefully, if he has a great offseason, like they say, he starts. So
and statistically, I mean, he had 52 solo tackles, 90 some overall. His PFF rating was 57, which is not very good. And he had 2 sacks to go along with that. So, I definitely would like to see an uptick in his PFF rating for what those are worth. But I mean, he played a decent amount. Just hopefully he gets kind of put in a better position, because I don't think that blitzing is his. I don't think that blitzing is his forte, really. So, But as far as his contribution to the defense was strong against the run, which is what I would hope for him to continue to contribute towards. It was really the pass defense that was the concern.
Yeah, coming from Iowa, I don't. All that passing is new for him. Like, what's this? We're not used to the ball moving this far. What are you doing? All right, thanks a lot, Detroit guys. Let's talk about the other two teams in the division, Chicago and the Bears. Those are the other two. There's not any other ones. So this over the last week, the Bears have had. We've actually had another game. So we played Cincinnati Bengals. We had joint practices with them all last week, and we didn't get into any fights. It is possible, Detroit. And then the starters played the entire first half. They scored 10 points, which was the first time they scored first touchdown the starters had in the time they've played, which wasn't that much, a little more than a half. A lot of people are really excited about what Caleb has showed. But if you scale it back a little bit, look at the entire picture, you have your detractors saying, I mean, he was barely 50% for that game and for the entire preseason. It looks pretty average, if not below average. But again, it's the preseason. No one cares about stats, right? We care about the flashes. And boy, oh boy, is Caleb flashing. He's doing plays that exactly the stuff that you drafted him to do. That backward, that don't exude. That getting out of the pocket, evading the pressure, dropping passes on people in stride. I can't wait. I can't wait till we do it to the team in green and yellow, whoever they may be.
Hold on.
The Bears.
Let me interject here.
Interject away.
You said, dropping passes in stride. He passed 10 for 20. So let's keep it in context.
Yes, I said that. I said that, June. I said he didn't hit every pass, but he hit the ones he had to hit. He hit the big ones.
Well, he missed half of them, and
June, again, it's preseason, June.
His glass is half full, not half empty, June.
Come on, you got to project a little bit.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The kid looks great. I'm just kidding, man. Don't mind me. I'm just happy.
No. You got to.
He looks great out there.
Listen. I agree with you, June. To be honest with you, there are some. He's a rookie. There's going to be some growing pains. The floor, what we care to see in the preseason is that how high is the floor. That's what it matters, right?
Right.
And it looks as if that wherever his growing pains will be, they won't be that bad. The passes he missed, some were high, some were a little off, but none of them was like near picks. None of them was like miscommunications. It was just a little bit, I'm a little off right now. I'll get it together. And sure he did. Sure he did. The defense, though, Dave, you said Minnesota's got a top 5 defense.
Everybody got top 5 defense.
No, only 5 people do. And I know, I'm gonna tell you right now, if we had got Judon, we'd had top 5 defense. We might actually still mess around and get into that top 10 conversation. But I think everything the Bears have shown this entire offseason, it has been nothing short of roses. Really, we haven't really had any losses. Hard Knocks is great. We look amazing on Hard Knocks. We got a new Bear fan is born every day now. Caleb Williams has been amazing as well. The defense looks good. We're rolling in the right direction for September 8th to hit the ground running. Titans, I'm sorry for you, but it's a damn shame what they did to that dog. Let's take another break. We're going to come back and talk about that other team that I tried to ignore, those Green Bay Packs. If you're watching live, go ahead and like the video. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. If you're listening on audio, check out what our advertiser partners have got to say to you. So there is a 4th team in the division, even though we like to ignore them at some point. Jordan Love, he did look pretty amazing. I'm sorry. I'm sad to say it. I'm sad to say it. He did look pretty good in this last preseason game. Oh, man.
Did he even play last week? He didn't play last week.
No, not this past week, but the other one.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, he did look good in his minor little bit of time out there. It's going to be one of those seasons for the NFC North. Everybody's clawing, scratching. It's going to be a close race to the finish line. I'm just so glad I don't have to see my team. I don't see none of you all until after week 9. Let you all battle. Let you all do a whole bunch of other stuff. And, then we'll come scrap up the pieces. How do you all feel about Green Bay's outlook as of right now?
Well,
that's a lot.
I'm sensing nobody wants to talk about them, so I'll just go ahead and volunteer. I think it's kind of scary to me because it seems like the teams that don't address much usually are the ones that surprise you. In their offseason, I wasn't impressed at all. I think they could have used a couple of pickups here and there in a decent draft, and I didn't agree with anybody they picked up or drafted outside of the running back out of the Raiders. And I still think that might not be what Aaron Jones was to them. So I'm thinking this could be one of those things where they feel like they're very comfortable with their team and their core and their offense and their defense. So I'm kind of worried. Jordan Love is the professional quarterback that none of us have in this division. He's the ultimate professional. So we'll see.
Professional. I like that you brought that up. Josh Jacobs, it's just our luck that they always find a running back and he has a good 3-year pop with them and they just go get another one. But I
Yeah.
don't think Josh Jacobs going to do all that for them.
I think he was a step down.
A step down. I won't say all that. I was going to say that I think the tread on that tire is kind of bald. They've been running over the curb a lot with the Raiders. So
well, the reason I say that, I think they were better off with Aaron Jones. They'd kept him. He was on fire at the end of the season last year. Like he looked unstoppable.
Yeah, but they did him dirty in the contract talks.
Yeah.
So.
And now he's motivated.
Yeah.
We see them week 4.
200-yard rushing game against
week
close,
4? Couple touchdowns, 2 or 3 touchdowns. Yeah, you know it's going to be like that.
I guess.
Now, what I see of Green Bay is that they've got some good ones. But I watched that game against the Broncos, and their 2s and 3s stink. They have no depth.
Ooh. It's just our luck, right? Just our luck. We always see the chink in the armor, but it never exposes itself when it needs to happen, right? I saw the same thing too, David. I don't think they're as deep or as flashy as a lot of the prognosticators would tell you on TV, right? So we had to see. We definitely see. If some ill will befalls them and they have to go to their reserves, we'll definitely test it. But I know for a fact, a year ago at this time, I was telling you, man, Christian Watson, he ain't nobody, man. Romeo Dobbs, nobody.
Yeah. Their professional quarterback we were laughing about.
Yeah. We would. Yeah, I was on that show. Yeah.
It's professional quarterback. Professional.
Yeah, but
it is, and I'm hearing too much. Green Bay is going to win the division this year. The Lions have something to say about that. Much less the Vikings and Vikings and Bears.
Oh, for the first time in a long time, Dave, I am confident we have something to say about it. Don't leave the Bears out of discussion. Not for the division. I don't want to go that far yet. But only the Bears out of discussion of, stopping the Packers and whatever they got, whatever aspirations they have on their season. No. Talk to us first. We'll let you know what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do too much, as they say.
Don't do too much.
Don't
the youngins. The young folks say.
Dave, where can everybody see you and hear more news, notes, and all type of Minnesota Vikings chit chat?
You can catch us over at Vikings First and Skull over on YouTube, Facebook, Fans First Sports Network, and all of your favorite podcast aggregators. We are there. And tonight we have the Real Forno show at 6:30 Central tonight. And we're going to be talking about the absolutely insane idea that was proposed this morning by Mr. Mike Tannenbaum that we trade for Russell Wilson.
Ooh. That kind of got me perked up. I can't wait to hear this.
Come watch tonight, 6:30 live.
I'll definitely be there. June and B. Foster, our Detroit Lions reps. What you all got in the chamber this coming up?
Well, at some point, we will have, probably next week, we'll have a Lions show on Bleachers and Speakers, YouTube, and on any of the podcast aggregators. We'll have a show, and then we'll have a Pistons show as well on our other show, post game podcast. Subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube, and that's about it. I think we're coming up on the last week of preseason. I think this next week we'll have not only wrap up the preseason, but we'll start talking about game 1 versus the Rams. So we're looking very forward to welcoming that quarterback over there back
Don't
home
do that.
again.
As the youngins say, don't do too much.
Oh, we're gonna do. Oh, we're gonna do too much.
Oh, we're gonna do a lot.
Okay, all right. I can't wait to see that too. That's gonna be fun for everybody that's familiar with me on the Bear Claw Pod and on the Greater Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. We do have Pay Dirt season premiere of our everything gambling show, sports betting. That will premiere tonight, so you already know where to catch that at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan and simulcast on the Running Through the Jungle channel. Always a fun time. Me and my boy B Dirt. Fellas, what do we say to close out the week? Okay. All right. Paramount Pictures. All right. I like it. All right.
We say Skull Vikings and Puck the Fackers.
Ooh, that was strong. I like that. I love it. The Bears.
Oh boy.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Stay blessed. Bear down.
Thanks for checking out this latest edition from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Whether you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watching on Twitch or YouTube, do the same. Like, subscribe, share with a friend, hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And to all my homies in Chicago, we say three things: bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.